We'll start today with a conversation about Drew Brees and the NFL. The Hall of Fame put out its 2010 All-Decade team, and Drew Brees was not one of the members. Only 2 quarterbacks selected to the team. Tom Brady, of course, a no-brainer. He's won too many Super Bowls. He is the GOAT. But Aaron Rodgers edged out Drew Brees for the second quarterback position. And to some people's mind, this is controversial. I'm not so sure. Yes, Drew Brees threw for more yards than Aaron Rodgers, threw for more touchdowns over the last 10 years. But Aaron Rodgers has 2 MVP trophies. Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl appearance in the last 10 years. Drew Brees doesn't have a Super Bowl appearance, doesn't have an MVP. But more than anything, rather than people being upset that Drew Brees should be on the All-Decade team ahead of Aaron Rodgers, they need to look at the non-pass interference call in the NFC Championship game just 2 years ago. That's the reason Drew Brees isn't on this All-Decade team more than anything. If they advance to that Super Bowl, and perhaps if they win that Super Bowl, then Drew Brees does become the second quarterback on the All-Decade team. I think this non-call here, which I don't have a big problem with, but a lot of people do, I think the non-call in the NFC Championship game is the culprit here in why Drew Brees isn't on the All-Decade team. All right, let's turn it over to Marcellus Wiley. What say you, Marcellus, to my contention that the controversial NFC Championship cost Drew Brees here?
I don't think it's that isolated moment, even though that obviously will be convenient for people to point at and say that's the difference. I think if you really look at them on the field, Aaron Rodgers beats Drew Brees in a photo finish. Really close. I mean, splitting hairs, literally. But then when you talk about all the voting that's going on, whether it's MVP, All-Decade Team, NFL 100, whatever it may be, we know that other factors come into consideration outside of statistics. So on the field, it's a photo finish. Off the field, I think Aaron Rodgers and his star power actually beats Drew Brees by a couple lengths. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers when he walks in a room with Drew Brees. You're sitting at the head table, and you say, oh, Aaron Rodgers is here, and Drew Brees. We know which one gets more fanfare, and I think that is a part of this consideration. So there's no slight to Drew Brees, okay? You're the third best quarterback of this decade. Look, that's like being the 4th place finisher in the Olympics. You can walk around the world and say, hey, I'm 4th fastest in the world, but you didn't get the necessary accolade to get on the medal stand. So I understand how that may feel, but it's no slight. Drew Brees comes up just a little short. And really, to go into some of the numbers, Aaron Rodgers, if you look at it, 5 of his 6 best years were in this decade. And then you talk about his worst years, 3 of his 4 worst years weren't in this decade. You can't trim that much fat off the resume of Aaron Rodgers and him still being the most talented at the position ever and expect him to lose a nod to Drew Brees.
I don't think it's a splitting hairs debate at all, honestly. I mean, I like the argument that you make, Marcellus, but you cannot take accolades and brush them and push them off to the side and dictating what greatness represents. So the moment you sit there and you say, Aaron Rodgers has 1 league MVP, that's enough. To 1 to Drew Brees is 0. No, here we go. 2. If you say 1, I know. You say 1, right? That's enough. Then you get to 2. That's more than enough, right? So to me, I don't even look at it. We could go into a whole lot of details about this, that, who comes into the room. The bottom line is when we're all done playing this game, and you know this just as well as I do, when we come for a job or we want to get an appearance or something like that, they're looking for the gold jackets first, and then they go to the elites next, and then they come to us. It's like the next group of guys that they come to. That's just what it is. That's the reality of it. And the bottom line is you cannot put Drew Brees ahead of Aaron Rodgers for 2 simple facts. MVP 1, MVP 2. Done deal.
I'm going to disagree with you for this reason, LaVar. Marcellus actually was arguing a point that I thought was going to argue in my favor, because I think off the field, it's a blowout the other direction in terms of star power, likability. Whose brand will be around associated with the NFL for the longest is Drew Brees. The work he's done in New Orleans, the way he's seen across the league, in my view, and again, I can't speak for everybody, but Drew Brees is the modern-day Walter Payton. He is the embodiment of everything the NFL wants its players to represent, the way Walter Payton used to be, and now they have the Walter Payton Man of the Year. When I think of the man of the decade in the NFL, it's Drew Brees, and that's why in a photo finish, again, if you take what Brees has done off the field, and then if you added a Super Bowl appearance and perhaps a Super Bowl victory, I think the nod would have gone to Drew Brees in that scenario, because just like Marcella said, it's a photo finish. We're splitting hairs. You give Drew Brees an extra Super Bowl, he finishes ahead of Aaron Rodgers despite the MVP deal.
I think if it's off the field, you guys have a debate.
Yeah, for me, man, I'll be real. I played with Drew and saw him get drafted, saw him have his early struggles and blossom into who he is right now. And Drew Brees, no doubt, in a comparison of Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, I would say Drew Brees is a better human. But he's not a greater star than Aaron Rodgers is. And that's just the way it is. It's almost matter of fact. If you watch all the montages, all the times that the NFL is mentioned on our network, other networks, whenever they're talking about the game of football, I'm really particular in this because I watch keenly to see what images they show, what faces, what people. You will count Aaron Rodgers more than you will count Drew Brees in all of the celebrations of the game. When you talk about the game going forward, maybe Aaron Rodgers and his personality, he'll be divorced from the NFL. He'll be the type that maybe doesn't want to be involved as much as Drew Brees. But trust me, they will still have to insert Aaron Rodgers, whether he's participating or not. Drew Brees is an amazing person, amazing personality, can touch every corner of a locker room without even trying. He's an amazing person. But when you talk about that Q rating, that star power, whether it's the discount double check or just the fact that everyone loves to hate on Aaron Rodgers, he just commands more attention.
For me, again, yeah, I gotta push back on both of you guys. I don't think that the blown call dictates this. I don't think that it's popularity off the field that dictates who ended up on this list of all-decade players. Again, you got to go back to the genesis of what you're doing in these moments. If you look at that list of guys, some of those guys don't have the cleanest track records, and I ain't going to go deep into that. So we were basing it off of certain things like that. Some of those people aren't on that list. So I think if you're purely keeping it on the field, again, if there's a person over here that's holding 2, 3, 4 gold medals, but maybe didn't win as many races as this guy over here during the course of their career, you cannot sit there and say, well, this guy over here won more races, but this guy, and they're better than this guy, even though this guy over here has 2, 3 gold medals. It just does not work that way. It's not logical, and that's the reason why Aaron Rodgers far and away is the guy for the decade team.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.